You talking to me?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Then who the hell else are you talking? You talking to me?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like a clown.
I'm Peter Venkman. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Man that doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
First thing I love is do not talk about it like that.
Yeah, baby.
Baby voice.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Yes, bartender, Foster's, please.
We don't do Fosters.
Oh, you don't have Foster's on the pump?
Only cans.
I can.
We'll do cans? It has to be Foster's, yes.
Only cans.
Great, thanks. Two
Yeah.
cans of Foster's it is. Great, here we go. So, Andy. Oh.
In your drinks,
The
gentlemen.
nectar.
Ugh. Do you know what they say in Australia about Foster's?
What?
We keep the best and export the rest. Foster's. Get it out of our fucking country.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Welcome, Andy, to Frame by Frame.
Yes, thank you. It's found ourselves in nice surroundings in this pub. It's quite nice.
The Gardener's Arms in Letchworth. Well, just on the boundary of Letchworth, we've managed to work our way through from the Borough of London.
Yeah, we were at the Winchester. We're trying to find our way home, basically. And we found the Winchester pub in London.
Yeah,
We
that's
had a
right.
few drinks there, and then we've just sort of done a little pub crawl. And we've got as far as here.
I think we're doing all right, considering
all
we've got
right.
no money and no transportation and no need to get home very much in a hurry. So
Yeah, we haven't got anyone at home waiting for us or worried about us, so it's fine. So
great, yeah. Wow, but this pub, I tell you what, it's been through a lot, considering it was used in that Edgar Wright film, World's End.
Oh yeah, which was part of like a trilogy of films, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right. I think you're right there.
I'm onto something
You're
here.
onto something here. Oh, hang on. We were in the Winchester.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I thought it looked familiar.
Yes, that would be why there was all those like cadavers everywhere and little,
Yeah, the broken window which we
Yeah.
went into
Yeah, that's
because
how
they
we got
didn't
in.
have a door, and all those dead bodies outside and burning cars and
So what we're trying to get to is that we're going to talk about the Cornetto Trilogy.
oh, I'm not very subtle, am I?
Not really.
Subtle as a brick being smashed against the head of a film fanatic like me. Andy, so we've obviously given away the fact that we're actually hungry to talk about these three films.
Yes, hungry like a zombie is hungry for
Flesh.
animated flesh.
Or hungry as a space mutant would be for blue
Yeah.
liquid, or
Or as hungry as a man that goes yarp.
the whole transition of buying a pint, drinking it, and then starting the scene.
Yeah.
That's pretty much kind of every scene, really, nearly.
Yeah. The cuts are always like bang, 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 bang as well. Really
Yeah.
quick cuts.
Which was kind of inspired by the direction of Darren Aronofsky, and he did the art, and also the director of Pi, who pretty much that film was all about those cuts.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting technique, and it's very consistent throughout these three films.
Yeah, and Edgar Wright's filmmaking
Signature.
Yeah, it's his thing. He does it in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very similar.
Which was made before World's End and after Hot Fuzz. That one, wasn't it? I think, or was it?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like... It was critically acclaimed, but not many people went to see it, but it's built like a cult following. I think it's more than made its money back with DVD and Blu-ray sales, but
I
on
think
its initial release,
yeah.
it didn't do very well.
I think from the profit margins from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, which were both made on such a meagre budgets, I think he earned it. I think it was a film that was a film that he just really wanted to make and just wanted to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And he certainly played that up. But let's go back in time to 2004.
Yes. Shaun of the Dead.
How did you come about Shaun of the Dead?
I went watching it at the cinemas. I was a big fan of the TV series Spaced, which is of course where Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost all work together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the series is brilliant. I still wished he made a third. But sort of born out of that, I was one of those episodes where he's playing Resident Evil.
Art. Yeah, the film was...
Yeah,
the episode was art.
Yeah, and he's playing Resident Evil, then all of a sudden he just looks inside and there's, the zombies and...
You want a piece of me? Come get some. Heads up. Oh, shit.
Hiya.
Don't sneak up on me like that.
Want a cup of tea?
Yes.
He's just so into the game that he sees zombies.
And we've all done that. We've all played games, which that's why I think Grand Theft Auto is a really freaking dangerous thing. Like, I'm glad I don't drive because I would be one of those people who really gets involved in the game.
I had that when I played Tomb Raider. I always wore shorts.
It's like Tetris. For some reason, I found it funny to drop odd shapes down elevator shafts to see if they just fit. You know, it's just one of those things. Dr. Mario, God. Oh, it could go on, but it's where were we? Yeah, so Art, episode 3 of Spaced.
Yeah, and I think it give them the idea to perhaps one day make like their own zombie film.
Yeah.
And what came out of what Simon and Edgar Wright wrote was Shaun of the Dead.
Coincidentally, didn't the remake of Dawn of the Dead come out in 2004?
It did, yeah.
But they were both in production at the same time.
Yeah.
That's quite astonishing, actually, because I always thought that Shaun of the Dead was after and it was a direct parody.
And who wrote the remake of Dawn of the Dead? James Gunn.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I do know that Edgar Wright had a cameo in Land of the Dead.
And Simon Pegg.
Oh, he was in that as well. So
yeah,
they were obviously invited in, because they were the
fans of George Romero, yeah.
And I think maybe George Romero probably really liked Shaun of the Dead, really, because I can imagine that he would really love that film.
Let's talk about the film then. It's really, really good.
It is really... Well, it's one of those films where you do kind of just suspend your critic inside of you because you don't need him.
It's just... Ed doesn't have too many friends.
Can I get any of you cunts a drink?
I didn't sit there picking anything apart. It was just all so well done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I could have, but I didn't.
Well, the attention to detail, which they got from Spaced, because Spaced was just littered with film references. And this entire film is just basically made up of film references, it's fantastic from the
got
music.
A bit of red on you. Kind of reminds me of Don't Look Now, when the blood seeps through on the pictures, and there is a lot of references that are kind of intertextuality or dependent on what you know, that they probably actually didn't intend for you to actually call upon. So it's that good. It works on so many levels because you are able to find your own references.
Oh, absolutely. So let's talk about the levels then. It works as a zombie film.
Zombie film, yeah. It's freaking hilarious. If you just switch off to the references, you've got all the blood and gore and the excitement.
Yeah, it works as a really funny comedy.
Yes, comedy pretty much is the primary.
And this sort of coined that phrase, the rom-com zom.
Rom-com zom, that was actually on the poster, I think.
Yeah, it's the very first romantic comedy with zombies.
Yes, to be followed up with Warm Bodies, which turned out to not be so romantic or funny. Good. Yeah, but I think this was pretty successful. Because there is kind of a love story in this.
There is,
not with the woman and the man. It's between the two friends. Because you've got Ed who becomes a zombie and is still there at the end playing games. But yeah, it's nice. It's a nice all-round film. There's nothing in this film that really puts me off.
No.
Pushes me out of the reality. The fantastic thing about these films, that Shaun of the Dead especially, is the idea of perpetual adolescence, and that idea that the characters in these stories have to grow up.
Yeah.
But ironically, they end up doing exactly what they do, sitting at home playing games, killing things, in order to actually be a member of the human race and to grow beyond that sitting on the couch. They have to go out and kill a load of zombies and fail miserably at doing so, but succeed in the end because they actually survived, which is all that they were actually came out to do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
It is the parallels are quite fascinating to me.
You know the scene in the pub when Shaun's just been dumped by his girlfriend
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, and he basically Ed's trying to cheer him up, and everything he says to him in that little scene, he foreshadows the film.
We didn't have
so Ed tries to cheer Shaun up, so he says, "We'll have a Bloody Mary first thing now." Mary is the girl, when they find the zombies in the garden,
yes,
and they kill that woman. That's Mary. She's called Mary.
They
actually wrote a comic about what happened to Bloody Mary. And stuff.
Yeah,
which is out somewhere. Then have a bite at the King's Head, which happens. Couple at the Little Princess, that's his girlfriend's apartment. Couples, all right.
Yes.
We'll stagger back here. They pretend to be zombies to get back to the Winchester. Bang, bang, here for shots. Where they end up shooting all the zombies. So that one little scene foreshadows everything that happens in the film.
Jesus Christ!
I'm telling you, the script is brilliant.
That is really, That's food for thought for when you're writing a script, to just go back and just do that. I mean, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Totally didn't see it though. So well done for finding that.
You're welcome. To make lists.
To make lists. That wasn't even worth
1 to 22.
That wasn't even worth bringing music out to overlay on it. So. And thank goodness you stole that notepad.
I wanted just to make a sort of list of all the Easter eggs that are in Shaun of the Dead.
Go for it.
You must have got some of them. So we've got he's on the phone. When he's on the phone to his mum, and then Ed's like, "We're coming to get you, Barbara." Is out of Night of the Living Dead. We're coming to get you, Barbara.
No, didn't get that one.
Didn't get that one.
Let's just score this up now, okay? Every time we win, I'm going to get a bell. Yes.
Many of the zombie extras are fans of the TV series Space, which also starred Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and were also directed by Edgar Wright, which we know. They were recruited through the Spaced Out fan website to be in the film. Did you know that?
Oh my god.
So,
how amazing is
so
that?
To be the zombies, we're all just the fans of the film.
It makes you think that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg just are so nice. Too nice for this business. It's incredible. Love it.
Yeah. I'm so happy Simon Pegg is writing the next Star Trek film, because he wrote these films and I think they're just brilliant. I honestly think Shaun of the Dead is one of the best comedy films ever.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, cool. And I'm on board with that, definitely. It's like American Werewolf in London for me.
Right.
Yeah.
This is going to be Nerdgasms.
I know, I can imagine, yeah.
Shaun works at 4E Electronics. Ken Foree was one of the stars of Dawn of the Dead.
Layers.
At one point, a zombie can be glimpsed wearing a yellow cycling helmet and lycra shorts. He's played by comedian Michael Smiley, who made an appearance in Space as a bicycle courier named Tyres.
Did you want a cup of tea, Taz?
I couldn't eat a thing. My stomach's like a walnut.
You even have tea?
No solid.
Something orange?
Water?
He's brilliant in Space. The game that Ed is playing through the movie is Time Splitters 2. The Time Splitters themselves are dimension-hopping zombies.
Aha.
The zombie that Shaun and Ed find in the garden is Mary, the checkout girl from the film's credit montage. A short story detailing her transformation into one of the undead was featured in programme 1384 of classic British sci-fi comic 2000 AD. The issue went on sale 7th of April 2004. The strip was called There's Something About Mary and was written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. At the end of the film, as Shaun flicks through TV channels, a voice can be heard saying that claims that the epidemic was due to rage-infected monkeys have now been dismissed as and Liz turns off the TV before the voice enters. The voice is referenced in 28 Days Later.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shaun complains that Ed isn't his boyfriend and says, "Thanks, babe," and in Space Series 1, he does the same thing.
He's not my boyfriend. Might be a bit warm, the cooler's off. Thanks, babe.
The distributor production logos at the start have an excerpt from The Gong by H. Chappell played over them. This track was used to great effect in Dawn of the Dead. The flicking through the yellow pages, Shaun finds the number for the restaurant that does all the fish. It's called Fucci's Restaurant, a reference to the Italian horror director Lucio
Fulci. Yeah.
When the Universal logo appears at the start of the film, the music playing is taken from the soundtrack to the original Dawn of the Dead. Also, the end credits feature a new recording of the infamous shopping mall music from the same film.
Yes. Okay.
Did you get it wrong?
No.
Right.
I was just trying to inject some enthusiasm from myself to say, yeah, I like that. I like that reference because it reminds me of something.
The TV news reports Shaun and Ed watch feature an anchorman who utters the exact same phrases as the TV reporter in Night of the Living Dead. When Shaun comes into work, one of his co-workers mentions something about someone named Ash. Ash is from the Evil Dead trilogy.
Yeah.
The choreographed pool cue beating of the zombie in Winchester is a carefully referenced homage to the balletic assault on the homeless man in The Clockwork Orange. Did you know that?
Really? Is that the one with the dildo or the?
No. You know when they beat up the homeless man.
Oh yeah. The way they turn.
I actually watched it, and it's the same.
Really? Oh my god!
Because
I could tell it was definitely choreographed, and it was done to show that they basically can't beat this guy up with cue sticks. That's all I got. And I thought, that's funny.
And it's
I got it on a very
music.
easy level. Yeah, because it was Queen.
Yeah,
wasn't it Queen?
You know that song? Yeah. I always found this out when I was looking into all this. The song's "Don't Stop Me Now."
Don't stop me now.
I'm having such a good time. You know what he wrote that song about? It's ruined the song for me. I think they got like a number 1 or something like that. So as a sort of well done you, the manager of the band rented 40 rent boys and a hotel room for Freddie Mercury to do what he wanted with them for the weekend. Jesus and that song Christ. Is written about that. Don't stop me now, I'm having such a good time.
Or 2. Or 3. Or 4.
Well,
oh my god, how many balls?
80. It was 4.
That's balls.
Go and buy their own.
My god, but what an incredible... No wonder. I mean, no wonder he had the fate that he had.
The AIDS.
Oh, shit, man. Literally. Next! What number are we on?
The line, get behind me, when fighting off the zombies in the pub is a direct lift from Han Solo's line in Star Wars.
Okay.
Chris Martin of UK pop band Coldplay, who appears as himself on the news report near the end of the film promoting Zombade, also plays a zombie. After Shaun and Liz escape the basement of the Winchester, he can be seen playing the zombies walking past the phone box from right to left.
Oh, man.
Shaun berates Ed for calling the creatures zombies. Remember that? And he said, "Don't say that.
Don't call them zombies.
Say the Z word." That's because in Dawn of the Dead, the zombie word is never mentioned once.
Yeah.
When Shaun finds his zombie housemate in the shower, he utters the words "join us" in a half-whispered tone, and that's what the zombies say to Ash in The Evil Dead.
Yeah, I've heard that several times. Yeah,
I think it's mainly out of The Evil Dead. Cause
yeah,
they join us. They have that kind of
maybe
thing.
they parody from that source all the time.
Because the way he says it, he says, "So if you're feeling better soon, join us." And he says he sort of whispers it.
Yeah. Cool.
I think you probably saw this, but the scene in which Shaun and Liz leave the basement via the lift through the hatch into the smoking orange light, that's lifted directly out of The Empire Strikes Back when Lando Calrissian goes up to get... Yeah, you know when he goes up to get Luke?
Yes!
Direct lift.
Direct lift.
Yeah, exactly. And then, one other thing I just wanted to talk about, and then we can talk about other stuff, is you remember the part where he bumps into his old friend, and there's sort of like there's a queue of them, and it's sort of like the opposite.
It's like a dimension of the same people, but there's the what's his name from Little Britain's in there, David Williams.
Yeah, well, interesting thing about that,
Luke.
It's the first 3 pairs in the gang all played opposite each other on other British sitcoms. So Simon Pegg and Jessica Hine, were obviously Tim and Daisy in Space. The 3 and 8, which was Lucy Davis and Martin Freeman, were Dawn and Tim in the Office.
Yes, they were. Yes. Oh God, I should have known this. I should have seen this one.
And then 4 and 18, which was Dylan Moran and Tamsin Gregg, both played Bernard and Fran in Black Books.
No, and unfortunately, what's his name? The last guy.
Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas, yeah. Matt Lucas has nothing to do with Nick Frost.
No, I think it's just the first 3. But
Well,
they
that
all
would've been really
sort of were entwined because, like, Simon Pegg was in the second series of Black Box.
Yeah.
Dylan
yeah.
Moran wrote Black Box and starred in it, and it was just. It's great that, you know.
Do you know what? This network of people that they all know each other and they've all grown up together. They both kind of all propelled their careers into these amazing things. They all stem from the same generation, and they all started about the same time. I think it's incredible. This British phenomenon of talent. It's
But
just
it's
all
also
pulled from.
it's like not forgetting.
Never forget your friends.
Yeah, like half the cast of Hot Fuzz were in Spaced. You know.
Yeah.
Bill Bailey, as you will find out, is in Spaced, and he comes back through Hot Fuzz.
Do you know what? You're always going to be in my films, man.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yes, absolutely.
I can look broody through a window.
And funny enough, our film CA03, it also has a lot of references, many film references in it.
It does.
It has the Halloween reference.
Yeah. Ding.
So,
Done it again.
and that's it. But that is that is it. Shaun of the Dead, definitely a classic.
It's just brilliant. It's so good and dark. It's worth noting how dark it is. I mean, he shoots his mother in the head.
Yeah, to be honest, that was fueled with a lot of emotion, and the fact that that he failed. You know, he failed to protect everybody that he loved, and he only ended up saving the one idiot friend, Ed.
He doesn't save Ed because he turns into a
he
zombie.
saves him. In other words, it's like
Oh,
leftovers.
right, I get what you mean.
He takes him home in a dolly bag and sticks him in the shed.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much he saved what's left of him. Bill Nighy was good in this.
He was.
I did like Bill Nighy in this, and I think he makes a very good zombie.
Yeah. Just interested with the shed thing. It's at the very beginning is the other roommate played by Peter Serafinovich.
Yeah.
He says to Ed, "Why don't you go live in the shed or something?" He's like, "I'm a big goer."
Foreshadowing,
Again, foreshadowing what's going to happen later in the film. Brilliant writing.
Nice. It is, and this is. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Do you know what? I was a bit sceptical about Simon Pegg writing Star Trek, the new Star Trek film. But since watching these 3 films and knowing his talent for writing and getting into space, which I didn't like to begin with because there was something about it, and I think I had to get through it. He's very insidious, Simon Pegg. If you don't like him, if you stick with him, you kind of learn to love him. I really admire that, and now I'm totally turned around. I actually am looking forward to him writing Star Trek.
I think the lucky thing with me is I found Simon Pegg through a comedy series called Big Train. Do you remember that?
No. Was that his first?
He'd done some things before. I think there was a thing called Asylum, which was like all like stand-ups. We're just doing stand-up in an asylum that was filmed.
So his origin is stand-up.
Yeah, he started doing stand-up. But Big Train, it just started with this. Simon Pegg comes up on a bike.
Excuse me. Sorry. Do you speak English?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Oh. My car's broken down, and I wondered if you could tell me where to find a garage.
Well, that's wasted on me. I don't understand what you're saying.
You don't speak any English at all?
Not a word. No. It's one of those things where I wish I paid more attention in school. But excuse me. Sorry. Do you speak any English?
English? No. What's the problem?
I don't know. I can't understand it.
Hi. My car's broken down, and I need to find a garage.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't understand that at all.
All right. Well, thanks.
Tell you what, if you go down that way, about half a mile, there's a village. There might be somebody there that speaks English.
Ich speak ein bisschen Deutsch. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Deutsch, nein. Sprichst du Deutsch?
Deutsch? Nein. Nur ein oder 2 Wörter, aber ich bin nicht fließend.
I'm sorry, could be more help.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, you never know. Next time you're over, maybe we'll have learned a bit of English for you.
Ja, oder Deutsch vielleicht.
Ja, das wäre toll.
Thanks, anyway.
I can speak English.
So can I.
Let's go
Well,
on to...
yeah, just to say why I was always on board with Simon Pegg.
Well, yeah.
Because of seeing how funny he was in Big Train, he's hilarious. And from that, every time I saw him in things, I was like, oh, it's that guy.
It's that guy again.
I want to see, what's he on about? I want to see what that's about. So I was always switched on to Simon Pegg.
And if you're listening to this, Simon Pegg, our email is roastedportions what is it? What is
framebyframe78@gmail.com.
framebyframe78@gmail.com. Please drop us a line. We've got some ideas.
Yeah.
We do. We do. Honestly, we've got some really, really messed up, fun ideas.
So, well, what they did to the
Yeah.
zombie thing,
Yes.
now turn the attention to action cinema.
Action cinema, because it's an homage in a way, but it's their own homage. They're not just doing a rip-off homage like the Scary Movie films or the like the Disaster, the Lampoon films.
They're not spoofing them.
No,
Yeah.
no. Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg are doing this homage to different genres.
Yeah.
And they've gone on to action, not just action film, but actually police action films.
Yeah.
British police action films.
Well, not entirely that.
Not really, because there are no British police action films. Police action British.
No, we had a lot of TV series.
I know. This is what I'm trying to get over. So it's just plain action film, the
Yeah.
genre. Yeah. Because there's no detective thing about it. There's no buddy cop.
What's socking in town, mouse?
Yeah, you want to be a big cop in a small town? Fuck off up the model village.
And again, this is full
Yeah.
of in-jokes.
Of course it is.
So Nicholas Angel is named after the music supervisor Nick Angel, who works on Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz and World's End.
Great.
The fictional Norris Avenue in the town of Sanford is named after action movie star
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
No.
The town of Sanford is named after the stock town name used in British police training exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that is research.
I
like that.
That's really good.
No, not you. Them.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, not me. It's just stuff
You
I
don't
found
say
on the internet.
don't say thank you on behalf of Edgar and Simon Pegg.
Do you remember when when he gets stabbed in the hand by Father Christmas?
Yes.
Do you know who Father Christmas is?
Oh, do you know what? Let me think. It was. No, I don't know.
It's Peter Jackson.
No way.
That's Peter Jackson.
That's Peter Jackson.
Yeah. And
What the fuck?
Nicholas Angel's CSI girlfriend, she's got the mask on. And she's doing some CSI and something, and she basically
and he goes to the wrong person. And
that's Kate Blanchett.
Is it?
Both of them are uncredited, but yeah, it's them.
Did not recognise her.
No.
Did not recognise her, and I thought it was a hilarious joke when he went to the wrong person.
And then obviously he's got the potted plant, which is a homage to Leon.
Yeah, the potted plant. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Frost's Danny asked Nicholas Angels a lot of questions about what action movies he's done before, like as he jumped through the hair firing his gun, and all the things he asked him.
2, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, all the things that he asks him has he done, they end up doing in the film. Because he said, like, have you ever jumped through the air while shooting your gun? No. Have you ever pointed the gun in the air and screamed? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? Have you ever said a witty one-liner? And everything that he's asked him has he ever done, and he's never done, they end up doing in the film.
James Bonds. Can I just mention James Bonds? Because we got in Hot Fuzz, we have.
Timothy Dalton.
He's
really good.
He is good. He's actually better in this than he was ever as James Bond.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, he didn't really have the right scripts for those James Bonds. I don't think they had the enthusiasm for his role at that time.
No, not really.
It was bad luck for
because
him.
they wanted Pierce Brosnan for it, and Pierce was doing that Remington Steel, and he was
damn straight.
And he couldn't do it, so they got hinted at thinking,
yeah, so
we'll just use him. I thought he was alright. I thought he was a good one.
I kind of felt as though it was a bit flat. But Timothy Dalton in this he's an incredibly sly kind of a character in this.
He is really devious.
Sure, if we bashed your head in, all sorts of secrets would come from.
Yeah, there's a few things that I noticed as well. Just changing the subject, but product placement. We didn't talk about product placement in Shaun of the Dead.
Right.
There was a few things that were kind
Foster's.
Foster's they drink.
Yeah.
Cornetto, of course, which is the thread through between all the films.
Well, the thing with the Cornetto thing is it was just in the script, because Edgar Wright, every time he had a hangover, the thing that sorted him out was the Cornetto.
Yeah.
So
They sent him out to go and get a Cornetto.
Yeah. So well, he didn't send him out. Sean's like saying, "I'm just going to nip to the shop. Do you want anything?" And Edge just there goes, "Cornetto," you know.
Yeah. But the nip to the shop thing is also in Hot Fuzz because that's what that's what they say in the car. I said, "Do you want to go out to the shop?" Go out to the shop seems to be the buzzword of those two films.
Yeah. But that, well, like I said, so when he got the Cornetto, and obviously they see the zombies, and they say, "What should we do? We'll just watch the TV." And they're just sat there eating Cornetto.
Yeah.
That's a red Cornetto, which would signify the blood.
The blood of that. That's right. Yeah.
But when it premiered, Cornetto. Who owns Cornetto? Was it Nestle?
Walls.
Walls, yeah. Sorry,
Walls, yeah. They were really happy.
Yeah, Walls gave loads of free Cornettos out at the premiere, and Edgar Wright thought, "This is great, we'll do it again." So they poured the Cornetto, which is a blue one, which would signify the police, you know.
Yes.
And then no one did it. There was no Cornettos at the premiere of that.
But at Hot Fuzz...
But then they were sort of into it then. They called it the Cornetto Trilogy. So
yeah, which
they
is...
have to put it in the third one.
Fair enough, you know, and but I think in Hot Fuzz they played a lot of the product placement card a lot in that film. But you mentioned the other day that
because
the thing about independent films is that
films are expensive.
Yeah.
And indie films don't get a lot of money to make a film by the standards of what Hollywood would. So they need to do a little bit of product placement to just get a bit more money to make these films.
Product placement is often seen as being quite a negative thing, but it's only if you're actually a multi-billion-dollar company that should be able to afford to make good quality films.
Yeah.
Such as Michael Bay. You've got the money, dude. Just lay off the frickin' product placement.
Well, that's what I mean. You've got $100 million to make a film, and they still do product placement just to make a little bit more profit for the wealthy business interest that are financing these films.
Yeah, but the big difference that we kind of touched upon in our little chat, our little text message chat, was that an independent film won't just do a product placement; they will find a way of using that product placement to put it into the film so it has a meaning. And for Edgar Wright, he does more than that. I mean, Summerfield, for example. I'm not just going to have Summerfield as kind of like an investment to fund the film. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to do a whole scene in a Summerfield.
Well, he used to work at Summerfield.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that is actually okay. Of course he did.
Yeah, he worked there at weekends and holidays and stuff. And
oh my god, that's
this is a little factoid for you as well. Is when they were when Summerfield was closing down, and the one he used to work at, he asked to buy the S of the Summerfield, which he actually has in his house.
Really?
Yeah. And the money that you give donated to charity.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, Summerfield it's a supermarket that we had years ago. It managed to outlive Quick Save, but still wasn't able to get over the Tesco, Sainsbury's, conglomerate, Morrison's, you name it. But Summerfield is in this film quite a bit. In fact, they even did the miniature version in the miniature village.
That was brilliant, that.
And Timothy Dalton trips on a Sainsbury's delivery van.
Yeah. And that steeple.
That impalement. That impalement is like, it really hurts.
Really hurt. I'm going to miss ice cream.
Yeah, well, don't worry. There's plenty of ice cream at the station.
And that's when we get the Cornetto reference as well there, isn't there? He says they can have an ice cream. The Cornetto reference in that is, of course, when they're actually sitting there eating Cornettos and they react to the brain freeze, I think.
Yeah, that's when they're just waiting for it to catch some speed in it.
But it's none of these things. I mean, in any other film, when you get these blatant references to their own personal experiences and their own lives, they are blatant and they stand out and they pull you out of the movie. But for some reason, Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, no matter what they put in their movie, they make sure that it works for the film and it enhances the film. Nothing is put in there for their absolute ignorance. I think if there was anything that didn't look right in the film, they just basically have to get rid of it. They would say, no, we're not going to do that. People won't get it.
Yeah.
Everything is there to either, and for the layman like me who doesn't get all these references that you've mentioned, they don't stand out as something that that makes me go, I don't get that.
Yeah,
I just kind of accept it and move on, and it's because it's a part of the film.
There's probably hundreds of references in there that I've not seen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you said before, it's these films that means different things to different people.
Yes.
People, I've seen all them, so I can grab those references. But you've seen other things, we've got other references from it. That's intelligent.
It is.
It
is intelligent design, and this is why they are doing so well. And I've really elevated my opinion of Simon Pegg. I think I was kind of slipping a little bit because I felt as though he was moving out of reach from his fans, and not so much his fans, but his, the fear. Mm. But I realise now that the fear has never left him. It's still with him, and they're all working on that. They're still working on that. They're doing bigger things. But they're taking that fear with them because it's taking risks.
Yeah, it's the Scorsese, De Niro, the John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, the Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright can get the best out of Simon. When they work together.
Yeah.
That's when great
You
things
don't
happen.
want them to split up. It's like Ant and Dec.
Yeah. Just like that.
The two Ronnies.
With the foreheads. But
yeah, they do so well. But they also aren't afraid to go off and do their own thing.
No, that's it. But it's like when Simon Pegg and Nick Frost did Paul. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's good, but you kind of I wish Edgar Wright had directed it.
Maybe it would have been. Yeah, they would have taken it up to 11.
It would have been stylised as opposed to just a sort of good, decent
film where they're in together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You're right, because I think that's probably one of the films where I kind of felt like, these two again. But you'd never feel that about The World's End. You don't go, these two again. Here we go.
No,
this is great. But Hot Fuzz, I'm glad I watched it the second time because it was a lot better the second time.
It's really funny. It was really funny. I love that he kicks that old woman in the face. Towards the end, when he's about to unleash the hell on the town.
Yeah, the old people.
Yeah, when he's just walking and she gets this gun out and just kicks her in the face and knocks her out.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and was that just over the fence, wasn't it? And then she's got a bloody nose. Yeah.
Because it's not just about sort of like police. It's got that
supernatural cult thing. Yeah, which kind of
on.
like an X-Files references to it. Because it's like the Red Museum kind of a cult. Which I think for America there was more of a reference to the that kind of. I think that would be more significant to America than to Britain. I think we kind of get it, but we don't always kind of explore that as much as they do.
Yeah.
Even though we've got these ancient druids that go to Stonehenge every year and jerk off.
Yeah. Well, the idea of
I don't know what they do.
Well, the idea of just having like the reason all these people are dying is because they're a little bit of an embarrassment to the town.
Yeah, they want to make the town look pretty
and perfect,
and they don't want that. But everything that they mention that is wrong with the town in the beginning and all of it, it what's his name? The Jim Broadbent is the police superintendent.
Yeah, Nick Frost dad, isn't it?
Everything that he says that's wrong in the town is everything that Simon Pegg finds in that what is it, like a crypt?
Yeah,
an underground crypt.
Yeah, you've got that bearded differences. There is a funny between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. There's like a homoerotic thing.
Yeah.
Just in Hot Fuzz, it's not as much with Shaun of the Dead, but with Hot Fuzz, there definitely is. When he's like, you just need to learn how to let go, and then he looks at him in the eyes and he's like, I don't think I know how. And it's like a real sort of, it's brilliant. It's really good. And the swan, because they're trying to find the swan all the way through Hot Fuzz. Yeah. And it's the swan that saves at the end, doesn't he? Because when Timothy Dalton's off in the car,
he goes off the
looks
road,
at it, and it's great comic timing where he just looks in the rear view mirror and you see a swan's head pop through. And I'm pretty sure it's a homage to like a Jurassic Park thing or something, because when he looks around, the swan just at the camera. And then,
Yeah.
then he crashes the car. You
Oh,
know.
right, yeah, I
So
never
it's-
really saw that. But
So it's the swan that basically saves the day.
why do they have to have all the pensioners running rampage? Because that hadn't been done before, I guess.
It is, and it's turning this action cinema thing on its head. Where
Yeah.
Usually it's like vibrant, young, healthy
Russian
person.
nasties.
But they're just old people who've got like a gun underneath them.
And they must have loved it.
Oh, brilliant!
And you know, and it's like these people are probably so proud to have Hot Fuzz on their CV because they were able to run around and shoot guns.
Yeah.
Like they've never done that before. I'm sure many of them have never ever had that experience.
And worth noting is Edward Woodward's final screen performance.
Yeah.
He died shortly after, I think.
Oh.
He was a good actor.
There's a Western element to Hot Fuzz as well. The whole standoff in the town square. And
Yeah, he comes in on the horse.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that a little bit touch into the Western because they are also action films.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, as much as they are science fiction, you know, with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a Western as well in space.
Yeah.
I see that as well. Yeah, and a good all-round comedy. Brilliant.
That's the thing, with all these films, there's so many layers, but if you just step back and just go, they're just really funny, great comedies.
That's it, yes.
Next.
Do you fancy another one?
Yeah, go on, let's get another one in.
Another, can we have another drink, please?
Foosters.
I think we ought to go for the Golden Mile.
Yes. So, the last of the Cornetto Trilogy
Yes.
is The World's End. Stephen.
And this was actually the first film I watched Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz when they first came out.
Yeah.
And I kind of like was a little bit cold on Hot Fuzz when the first time I watched it. But on the second time around, because I knew that in the future we were going to review these, I started with World's End.
Ever had one of those nights that starts out like any other, but ends up being the best night of your life? I did. Our goal that night was simple. 12 pubs, 12 pints, from the first post to the world's end. But that night, we never made it.
The World's End was totally not what I expected it to be.
No, it's not. Yeah, first time I watched it, it was not what I thought it was going to be. Absolutely. Firstly, Simon Pegg being the annoying arsehole.
Yeah, totally different. But
He shows he's got range, that guy, because he's a real arsehole.
There's one thing that I do find fascinating about this character that started me going back and thinking, what are the other characters mirror in terms of cinema characters? In this film, he looks like an easier to get along with Begbie from Trainspotting. He looks like Robert Carlyle in Trainspotting in this movie.
Yeah.
Very much so. I kept on watching and I kind of thinking, this could have been Robert Carlyle in Trainspotting. So much so.
Because what I get from him as
The
a
drunk,
character
yeah.
is it's like the Matthew McConaughey character out of Dazed and Confused.
Dazed
where
and Confused.
He's the guy who never left school. Like everyone, like Matthew McConaughey in that film. Everyone else, when they've left school, to go and do their own things, but he's still hanging around.
No, man. No, I'll tell you. That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That carries a tragic character.
Yeah.
He's obviously become
Again,
an alcoholic, but you know he's he never left school. That was the happiest time where he was a cool kid. Everyone looked up to him, and he stayed that person. But he's never, you know, he's not. Everyone else has matured and evolved into years, but he stayed that same person.
Yeah, I had no idea he was in that film.
Yeah.
I never really actually touched upon. But yeah, and it's that perpetual adolescence again, such as touched upon in Shaun of the Dead, which is a complete contrast to the character he was in Hot Fuzz, as this guy who was driven and wanted to be overzealous about everything that he did, had to be perfect about everything he did, but had no personal life whatsoever. But funny enough, the same thing happens. The actual condition of that personality was the same, had the same effect on his life around him. You're either going to be a child and push everybody away, or you're going to be completely driven and self-involved about your career and push everybody away. So it's really Simon Pegg's characters in this trilogy is all about pushing people away and not being able to to keep the people who are most important close to him.
And I think he's a real anti-hero, isn't he?
Yes, I mean this is
Especially
kind
in
of
World's End.
This is the anti-hero. This is Ed's character in Shaun of the Dead in a way, where he's this obscene guy who just know that people don't really like him, but they kind of just follow him around because they can't help themselves. And again, there's motivation for this group of middle class or business people, lawyers who are all the characters, all his friends, who decide that they're going to go back on this pub crawl.
Well, he convinces them, doesn't he?
He does.
By saying that his mum's died.
In his own way, he figures it out how to get them all together, and he just does it with his one big lie. It's great. It's great.
But it's a horrible thing to lie about. Edgar Wright actually tried to do a pub crawl in the town we grew up at.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea came from. Is he actually, him and his friends actually tried to do it, and he just made it to like 6 pubs, and that was it. He was out of it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on a pub crawl that hasn't been completed. I think it's a brave thing to do, this kind of thing, to actually go through. I mean, was it 12 pubs?
Yeah, and the name of the pub's Shadow.
Oh, is it? Really?
Yeah.
Does this happen to involve a list, Mr. Lewin?
The first pub they go to is called the First Post. The second pub they go to is the Old Familiar, which looks identical to the First Post, which is hilarious. You know when they go into the first pub and they have a drink, and then they're on to the next one. The Old Familiar, this is where it starts, and they go in and it looks identical, just franchise pub.
Yes.
I think it's a really funny gag.
Yeah.
They meet the town's famous crazy old man Basil in the famous cock. They fight the robot teenagers in the cross hands. They see the local drug dealer Reverend Green in the trusted servant. They fight the robot twins in the two-headed dog. The gang is tempted by robot women at the Mermaid. Gary King slams his head against the wall at the King's Head. A car is driven through the hole in the wall, which makes an actual hole in the wall, and the world ends at the world end. The fight choreography in this film.
Well, in all three films, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of hard graft in this that kind of.
I think especially the World's End.
Yeah.
Some of it, I can't be sure, but it seems like it's like shot for shot redone of a Jackie Chan film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure, or at least
they just wanted to up themselves. Yeah.
Yeah,
they wanted to up themselves on this one. They knew this was the last of the trilogy. They had to go out on the bangs. But it's amazing because you don't really think of Nick Frost and Simon Pegg as being quite fit, agile people, but they bloody well give it a good wallop in this one.
And I'm pretty sure everybody it returns for this film. I'm sure of it because Martin Freeman.
Yeah, he was in
the World's End. He played the bizarro Liz from Shaun of the Dead,
and in Hot Fuzz.
And he's the police sergeant in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Mark Heap, who's from Spaced. He is a barkeeper.
He's
the barkeeper. Julia Deakin is the innkeeper, and Michael Smiley is Reverend Green.
Yeah.
Paddy Considine, he's Raphael Spall in Oliver's Costume, who played Andy, one of the Andys in Hot Fuzz, and he was David Bradley, Basil, who's also in Hot Fuzz. Bill Nighy, who played Stepdad Philip and Shaun, and the Chief Inspector in Fuzz runs the voice of the network. Rhys Shearsmith, one of the Shifty twins who are loyal to the network, was Bizarro David in Shaun. And Nicola Cunningham, who's Bloody Mary in Shaun of the Dead. She's in his AA meeting.
Oh,
at the very
yeah.
beginning, she's sat next to him.
Yeah. Do you know, I actually did think the guy on the right who speaks to, were you disappointed about not getting all the pubs? He looked like he was sitting like a zombie. I don't know why I kind of made that made that thought that he was just sitting there like a bent zombie, just like a starched T-shirt on the chair. He just kind of looked zombie-like. I don't know why. I just
could be.
There's a little hint. I don't know. Just kind of wanted to think that there was another reference in there that I could get. Because I think I have not got. Well, pretty much. I've got a couple of references, but not all these.
Yeah, careful. Floor's a bit pissy. Wasn't me. That was me. Did that back in 1990. Punch the shit out of the wall. I don't know why. Seemed important at the time. You guys look like you're having a good night, though. I'm doing the Golden Mile tonight. Gonna tag along. You could be like the Six Musketeers. I said we're doing the Golden Mile. You think you're so cool, don't you? Huh? But we were cooler. We own this town. Paved the way for you lot. We blazed a trail. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Please don't.
Oh, don't what?
You don't want to do that.
Oh, don't I?
Self-intervention type thing.
Yeah. I think it's a really clever psychological spin on a character. This is, you know, it's not only is he actually aware that this is what he's doing, he's desperately trying to deny that this is the only thing he has.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible strength in character. There's so much depth in that characterization.
Like he's still driving the same car that he sold, what his friend sold him years ago. He goes, God, that sounds like that cassette I did you back at school.
Yeah.
No, that's the same cassette.
Same cassette.
He's never
left that era.
There's an accident, isn't there? So something happened, there was an accident which Gary ran away from.
It's, yeah.
Which I think might
vaguely,
be part of
loosely, yeah. It's not really blatant. It's not like, he doesn't revisit it.
Right,
they don't force him
Well,
to.
first we learn the details of Andy's accident and how it wasn't Gary's drinking that he's bitter about, but the fact that Gary abandoned him. Also, when Gary is told to show them his arm to prove he's human, he becomes nervous and chooses instead to bash his head as proof. We don't realise until later why he would not show his arm, but because of the bandages. He's obviously ashamed that doesn't want his friends to see a weakness in him. You know, maybe he's been self-harming. He's like a really depressed character.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I kind of thought that. I thought, what's he hiding? What is he hiding? But then they don't make a point of it.
Do you think him leaving his phone was on purpose?
Leaving his phone.
You know, he leaves his phone and his mum rings, so they know that he's lied about his mum being.
Gary thinks we should keep up with the crew because they know what we're doing, but they don't know that we know what they're doing. And basically, no one else has a better idea. So fuck it.
Yeah, because there's an element of that in life where a lie you feel so bad about saying that you kind of let yourself get caught. No, I don't know.
Because I think he did. I think he probably left it. Mainly because I think he'd already spoken to his mum and he knew she was going to phone back, and this was like a way of maybe even if she was just going to get in an argument over it, an argument for him.
Didn't have to be there.
But because they were talking about just leaving and going, weren't they? And then all of a sudden, by leaving his phone and finding out his mum's still alive, an argument to him is better than just being on his own. Still, keeping them angry but staying with him.
Yeah, but he couldn't be there in front of them to say, alive, my mum's still alive. But he had to look. Yeah, maybe I didn't touch upon that so deeply because I thought.
I honestly think
everything happens for a reason. Yeah.
And I think they really went to town on this character as being really tormented. Really, it's only at the end of the film where he has a purpose.
Yeah. He turns into this Western warrior, this Mad Max kind of character.
Yeah,
outlaw. Incredible.
Yeah, but fighting against people who don't accept these robot versions of who they once were. He's fighting for them.
Equality and fighting for his space friends that he put into, as zombies. He brings them in, just like he did with his fans for space. Yeah. Brings them all in. So there is a parallel to his personality, and I think that Edgar Wright did say that a lot of the films, they were kind of dealing with their own parts of them, the elements of their personalities.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just one of those things. Maybe is there a possible fear that because he has gotten so successful that he wondered if his fans were not with him, and that he wanted to kind of say that, you're still there. I'm still taking you. I'm going to protect you from these bad guys who tell you that you're all, just following some money-grabbing guy, because he's not that. He's just not that at all.
So it's not like with the other two films, they reference so many films, where this one doesn't seem to be as much like that.
It references life more than it references art.
There are that was good. Well, there's the obvious parallel to The Thing. You know, when they're like looking at
claustrophobia.
And when they're doing that scene when they're trying to say like that birthmark you had, have you still got it, to find out whether they've been assimilated or not, and you know.
That's it. Yeah.
That's like how.
I didn't mean claustrophobia. I did mean paranoia. Yes, paranoia. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, The Thing, definitely. But it's not. It's not as thick, not as heavy going with the references. But you would expect it because it was the genre was science fiction. They didn't mention Star Wars, Star Trek.
No.
There were no direct references to science fiction because the film wasn't science fiction until they went into that third or fourth pub?
Yeah, where he tries to engage with that teenager in the toilet, doesn't he?
But at least...
And he gets annoyed with him and ends up fighting and smashing his head up. And that's when they found out that his mum's not alive.
Exactly the same time, yeah.
So then they come into the toilet to sort of confront him about it and end up in that really great
fight scene. Yeah. But... isn't that an incredible thing to have so much going on that is just normal everyday life, that to then suddenly put the spin on it, make it extraordinary, and it echoes films like The World's End echoes an earlier film by Robert Rodriguez, the From Dusk Till Dawn film.
Oh yeah,
where half the film is a road movie with killers. And the second part of the film is vampires.
Yeah, the first time I had no idea about the vampire thing when I went watching that film.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just went and watched it because I knew Quentin Tarantino was in it. And I didn't really know that much about it. My mate Matt wanted to watch it, so I just went in with him blind. And then he knew about it, but he didn't tell me. And then
you were like, what's going on?
I was like, what? It was great.
But for people who weren't aware of that kind of genre, where we're kind of used to that now, you know, sometimes that happens in films where suddenly it just completely changes direction, but never so blatant as it was for From Dusk Till Dawn and for World's End. It was a clear-cut, blatant, it was just normal film, then all of a sudden science fiction. They didn't actually have science fiction all the way through like they have with Hot Fuzz, where it was just action all the way through, or with Shaun of the Dead, it was, you know, ordinary life, disequilibrium, followed by zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a little bit... The actual structure was slightly different.
Yeah,
it was a
absolutely.
character-driven drama about guys who needed to have that one last chance of the mile.
Yeah. And they still, when they find out that, you know, the network, which actually isn't, it doesn't want to harm anybody, it just wants to assimilate mankind and make it more peaceful and perfect, like the network thinks it is.
Like television.
Yeah.
So there's secret meaning behind this, to indoctrinate the masses.
Yeah, perhaps we always keep coming back to this, don't we?
We do. We can't help it. We know we've just gotten out of a sticky situation. And
enjoying a nice drink in a nice bar.
Yeah, and you never know who might be listening. You got to be careful.
But I think there is part of that. There's part of that. The extraterrestrial elements are used to tell a human story. The network and the blanks. Yeah, they call them blanks, don't they? Right. The network and the blanks create a perfect metaphor for the complacency and that detaches us from what is most important in life. Under the network, life seems much happier for people, but they essentially lose what it is to be human.
Yeah, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, it definitely
echoes that.
Yeah, especially when they see them, they point at them and all that blue comes out of the face.
Yeah. Nothing in these films is cliched, really. No.
They're too good filmmakers to be that. Too good.
Yeah. Because I wondered why they're blue. I really did. I thought, why blue?
So I never even thought about that. Really bothered me.
Yeah. It's just, why blue?
Why blue?
Maybe it's something to do with ink, because there's blue ink and there's red ink. And they didn't have...
And there's green ink.
I don't know. I really, really want to find a reference that nobody's ever heard of before. So the World's End, they get to the World's End pub, which is where this pub was actually. This pub here in the Gardeners Arms pub. Doesn't look like the film set, but...
No, it's quite quaint and nice.
Probably got a lot of money to do it up.
So yeah, when you get to World's End, though, it's that's when he breaks down, isn't it?
Yes, because he's desperately got to have that point. It becomes an ultimate, because cannot live without that finality.
He's got to finish it.
Got to finish it.
And
desperation.
But I think that's a really touching scene.
Yes, yeah.
Where he just loses it. He's got nothing.
And then all of a sudden,
then it's like Nick Frost is then trying to say, I haven't got anything. My wife left me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We're all essentially
none of us are successful. Even the successful people have problems.
It's all about what it looks like on the surface.
Yeah.
What's underneath.
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
It's like picket fence again.
Yeah, and then what happens when they pull the pint? They find out what is underneath.
Exactly. Yeah, they go right down.
Yeah, that's it.
And that argument with the network is hilarious.
Son, I'm guessing we're not the only glitch in your system.
It is true, the network has been experiencing some difficulties.
I think you bit off more than you can chew with Earth, mate. Yeah, because we are more belligerent, more stubborn, and more idiotic than you could possibly imagine. And I am not just talking about Gary. Yeah, there's more than one Gary King.
But you said...
I fucking know what I fucking said.
Your reliance on profanity is a measure of your immaturity as a man and as a species.
Why don't you just get in your rocket and fuck off back to Legoland, you cunt? Yeah! Stop fucking starbucking us, man! Yeah!
It's our duty to challenge you!
Just leave us to our own devices, you intergalactic asshole!
You misunderstand!
Shut up!
We are trying!
Nobody's listening!
If you don't leave...
Face it! We are the human race, and we don't like being told what to do!
Just what is it that you want to do?
We want to be free! Yeah. We want to be free to do what we want to do! Yeah! We want to get loaded! Yeah! And we want to have a good time! And that's what we're gonna do!
It's pointless arguing with you. You will be left to your own devices.
Really?
Yeah. Fuck it.
And that's it, apocalypse. Because we didn't know that iPhones and everything were being networked through all this. We're being watched and spied by the network through all the social media things we do. Again, NSA files.
And of course, that's why the Martin Freeman character had his Bluetooth thing on there, so we could communicate with his. And it's Bluetooth, like the blue. There you go. There somewhere. That's why they had blue blood. Yeah.
So the apocalypse starts is because they created all this technology to try and assimilate us, and when they decide to go and leave us because there's nothing they can do for humanity.
And
apocalypse.
But it's not the typical. It's like an electric storm.
Yeah.
Rather than just an explosion, it was like a big pulse bomb.
Well, we discussed before about what would happen if they took the internet away. That's what they do. The network takes the internet away, and the world stops.
Yeah, and they have to grow their own potatoes again.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They could. They've ended it now. The trilogy. Are they planning on making any more?
Definitely. I think they've said they'll always work together. So, there'll always be a time to make a film.
Not necessarily to extend the trilogy.
No. I don't think it was ever intended to be when they did Shaun of the Dead. It's just the Cornetto thing happened and people latched onto it.
Yeah, exactly. And
but I hope they keep working together because when they work together, they work. They make the best. They make the best work.
They have the fear. They have the fear when they work together, and I think they push each other to make it better. And that's what filmmaking should be.
You know what? We talk about this. There's 12 pubs.
Yeah.
Isn't there 12 steps in Alcoholics Anonymous?
12 steps. Yeah.
There is to get off the drink. It's a 12-step process apparently.
Oh right. And I think he sobers up towards the end because they just all drink water.
They just drink water at the very end. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's your 5% proof.
There we go. No, it's
right. There's 4% proof.
4%.
Thank you, Fosters, for cheaping us out.
Melbourne established 1888. I thought Melbourne was older than that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So there we go. Anyway, that's the Cornetto Trilogy.
Loved it.
Brilliant, perfect little trilogy. Let's hope they don't do prequels.
No, prequels?
I'm just thinking of a trilogy.
Ironically, it could be that Simon Pegg actually makes a better prequel trilogy than Star Wars. Nah,
they wouldn't do it.
No,
I think the way they work so well is because they've aged as well. So in Shaun, he looks that age.
Yeah.
In Hot Fuzz, he looks the age that he should be to be this like elite policeman. And then in World's End, he looks the age to be this washed up alcoholic kind of guy. You know, the films have aged with them. Can
I also mention the parallel with Deer Hunter in the first film?
Right.
How Shaun looks so much like Christopher Walken, and having the dart in the head.
Oh yeah,
was like a throwback to Russian roulette, and the red thing around the head. He looks so much like Christopher Walken in that.
I've never heard anyone make that parallel, and you've done it there.
Is that my reference?
That's your reference. You've got it. One that no one else has done.
Wow.
I'll Google it, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think we can move off. Okay, bartender.
You know, I want to take this opportunity to let the people know how they can contact our friends at Frame by Frame. They do that podcast
You
thing.
know, two guys, yeah, they do the podcast, okay? So
They're nice. They're like a forest, which is a beautiful thing.
Exactly. And so if you want to do the communicating thing, you know, the social networking thing.
Yeah, you can tweet those guys at Frame by Frame 78. If you'd like to go to their website, that will be www.roastedportions.com.
You don't need to do the www. It's implied that it's going to be the World Wide Web.
But people need to know that.
Okay, just go to roastedportions.com, okay? You go down on the right-hand side, you've got the social connections. You can talk to the people who do the show. You can even talk to the people who made that movie, you know, S03E03.
Who'd want to talk to those mooks?
I don't know, they made a pretty interesting movie, right? It was in black and white.
Yeah, black and white. I like
you know,
that.
We like black and white, and there was also some trees in that movie, too.
Oh, trees. It's like being in the forest, which is a beautiful thing.
Other connections, you can really get to know these people on YouTube as well, and if you want to comment on their podcast, I urge you to do that. Okay?
Yeah, I think it is a proper, really nice thing if people want to start contacting these guys.
Subscribe to them and comment. I mean, it's just polite, you know.
Also, you can email them at framebyframe78@gmail.com.
That's it. I think that's everything wrapped up, so.
Hey, I'm gonna go and plant a tree somewhere.
Okay, you go plant some trees.
I'm gonna go and plant a tree.
I'm gonna go tweet.
You tweet, I'll plant a tree.
It's us. We're out of here.